I'm Detective Blake Howard, currently assigned to the Special Victims Unit within the Criminal Investigations Division. We get assigned cases where a child is a victim, whether it be custodial parents, or sometimes suspects, or whoever's in charge of that child. Oftentimes, can lead into a neglect type case or an all-out child abuse case. So we are the unit assigned to investigate that. Generally, most of our cases start with some sort of disclosure. A lot of the incidents that we investigate happen in very private places, whether it be children in the home or, if it's sexual in nature. A lot of those just tend to happen in private places. So ultimately, our process starts generally when there's a first disclosure. Sometimes that's brought to us through counselors. Sometimes it's brought to us through families. Sometimes it's brought to us through the victims themselves. So that's kind of where that process starts for us. And then depending on the case and the circumstances is kind of where we go from there. There's really no one tailored, criteria of the things we do. It's very case specific. But generally we have a lot of resources available to us to investigate and get to the bottom of what happens. We are kind of the boots on the ground, if you will, as far as getting all of it kind of put together for the legal process. Like I said, every case is a little different, but generally we're just trying to find as much information about each case that's available. So we're tasked with putting all of that together and trying to identify any crimes that were committed and presenting that to the proper authorities. When it is these types of cases, we rely, like I said, on a lot of different agencies as well. The Department of Children and Families has an investigative unit within their agency that is also investigating usually. So we try to get information from wherever we can, whether it be through them and their past experiences with any of these families that we're dealing with, whether it be with schools and counselors, anybody that may know what's going on behind closed doors and things of that nature. We also, work closely with the state attorney's office, because kind of if our case is leading to an arrest, that's the next step in the legal process is, formal charges and then that courtroom side of things. So usually the state attorney's office, someone from their office is brought in to kind of consult with and review the case with us. So when we're investigating, these are very serious crimes generally that we're investigating. There kind of is nothing that we're not going to try or go out and resource to get for these victims. Our job is tough in the sense that we are dealing with sometimes children victims, that is, generally very innocent victims that we see. It's hard for any parent to imagine, a child being a victim, but too many times they are. So anytime I get one that is dealing with a child, especially a younger child, that always hits home a little bit more and, just makes you work that much harder. But the rewarding part of that is that we get to kind of see the justice through the process. So even though it's tough to sometimes hear these stories and understand what's going on, we also get to, we're the ones tasked with being their voice and, telling their story so that whoever is responsible for this trauma is held accountable. And that part of it, seeing that process happen and when it's successfully done is very rewarding. And, there are aspects of it that are heartbreaking. But like I said, for us, it's always rewarding to see it kind of come to fruition and kind of go through the process, like I said, seeing the justice behind it. When we are dealing with special victims, whether it be children or, victims of sexual assault, we do take those cases very seriously, and we try to bring as much professionalism to that situation as possible. It can be oftentimes the most traumatic thing that's ever happened to anybody. So we try to handle them delicately, handle them with care, and treat our victims as victims, because it is a traumatic experience that most of them have been through, and we take it very seriously.